Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sohum Reactions. Peace, love, and positivity to you. Today's request comes from Sean, who sent us two songs. The first is Bright Star by Anaïs Mitchell. The second is The Roving from Bonny Light Horseman. And apparently, Anaïs is also a co-lead on vocals for Bonny Light Horseman. So we're getting a double dose of Anaïs today, which prompted me to look into her Wikipedia page to learn a little bit more about her. Apparently, her genres are indie folk, Americana, country folk, and pop music. And she's based out of, originally Vermont in the US. Based on the description of her genres, I'm immediately reminded of Joni Mitchell, who I recently gave a first-time reaction to her album Blue. And many, many moons ago, I reacted to an artist named Sierra Farrell, who I feel like is criminally underrated. She is so worth checking out. But today, we're going to be experiencing Anaïs's music for the first time. I sure hope I'm pronouncing her name right, by the way. But once again, thank you to Sean for the reaction request. Now, my friends, let's jump into it. Ooh. The low frequencies are popping in this.
Bright star, when I first laid eyes upon you, I was filled with such a longing to be with you in the dark.
I get the indie vibe for sure.
Since I could not fly beside you, I would chart my own course by you, and I'd sail it by your legs.
Listen to the breathiness in her voice. It's like a shaker in the back.
Bright star, I sailed in all directions. I followed your reflection to the farthest foreign shore. Bright star, I have anchored in the harbor. I have brought my gifts to barter for a drifter's bed and board. Bright star, I have drunk the wine of ages in the company of strangers. We have sung in tongues of angels and then stumbled on the pavement, and I understood my place there and my purpose in relation to the young and ancient night.
Oh, this is pretty. I love the flow of folk melodies. There's a continuity to it that just keeps me entranced in the flow.
Bright star, I'm home now from my roaming. I'm alone now in the gloaming with the ships out in the yard. Bright star, there's a thought upon me dawning.
Also, I was there was a moment in the, I think, first verse where she was mentioning if she flies too close, that would be a problem, kind of reminding me of the Icarus tale. You fly too close to the sun, the wax melts off the wings. But also a bright star, if you're far enough away, can be used as a guiding light to bring you to a new place. But also the bright star being the sun, marking a new day. There's a lot of potential meanings embedded in bright star by itself, and also the emphasis on bright here rather than just plain star tells you something about the way in which she perceives that the sun's energy, almost as though it's radiating some kind of creative hope. But we'll get into some of the analysis after.
Bright star,
those are my current thoughts.
There's a thought upon me dawning. You have launched 1,000 longings, and I don't know who you are. Bright star, you have never been my vessel, or the wind my sails have wrestled, or the lands to which I traveled, or the friends with whom I reveled. There are lengths to which you'll never know. I went to be your lover and beloved in your sight.
you have all of this warm support around her.
When I first laid eyes upon you, I was filled with such a longing to be with you in the dark, bright star. If I could have flown beside you, I would not have had the sight of you to guide me through the world so wide and bright.
To guide her through the world. It's like you want to kind of have some proximity to this bright star because it does give you like the light to shine on the path nearby, or even kind of brings you to the place that you didn't know you needed to go. But if you get too close to that star, you end up sacrificing your own, I would say, like, you sacrifice a bit of your own like critical thinking. If you were just to only ever copy someone who's great, that's as good as you'll ever be, rather than actually apply the meta concepts to your own creative work and then make something happen. I'm not exactly sure if this song is simply about one meaning or has like multiple interpretations to it, because I feel like the way I was thinking about it is she's using the guiding star as a way to unearth her own creativity. And the problem let's say the double-edged sword in doing that is if you get too close, then you forego your own creativity in favor of what's already been established from the light of that star. And if you're too far, well, you may be kind of meandering in a place that nobody else will be able to recognize, including yourself. And I feel like if you're already not the person who has forged their own path and are sort of semi-reliant on some tethering to reality, to the processes that are known, then you do in some sense need that guiding light, that mentor. And if it's a bright star, one that radiates hope, I think that's all the better. Because oftentimes when you're going to make the most progress in your life, it's when you put all of your own ego aside and you just absorb. You sit near the expert, they just give you all of their distilled knowledge and you try to take it all in, and some of the concepts don't make any sense and they're using all of this vocabulary that doesn't readily occur to you. It's their own nomenclature, let's say. And as you exist in that space and then you see what's possible with the new tools presented to you, that can sort of unlock the confidence within to apply tools towards your own creative endeavor. I hope that makes sense. So like, just as a more grounded example, if I am learning to paint and I don't know the first thing about it, I will do my best. I will look up some Bob Ross videos and I will try to emulate as much as I can, learn as much as I can from the great. And over time, I will try to apply what I've learned to my own creative processes, and see what I can't produce on my own. And I feel like there's this eternal push and pull of like, I want to traverse the creative unknown, and also in so doing, I don't know if any of my work is actually going to resonate. And then you can think more abstractly like, oh man, venturing into the unknown period is a scary prospect. So I feel like there always needs to be a healthy balance of exploration, and if you're going to use the AI terminology, exploration and exploitation, where you explore the novel, what do they call it, parameter space, and you take advantage, and exploit is a little bit harsher of a term here, but that's the actual terminology. You exploit the knowledge that's already existing so that you can make that progress in the unknown space happen at more of a rapid pace. Now, that doesn't mean there's a premium on rushing progress, because creative endeavors, they happen fast, they happen slow. It really is a personal journey, but it seems like it's one that Anaïs really wants to embark on, and that guiding light is helping her make that dream a reality. So that's the way I interpret that song. Let me know what you think. Also, I really appreciate in this song how I think I mentioned it at the beginning, but the lower frequencies are extremely pronounced and very early on. It serves as a beautiful contrast with her voice throughout, and her voice is breathy. It can kind of squeeze into that higher falsetto-y place, though I feel like if I were to have tracked the lowest frequency and highest frequency she sung, I think the overall range was maybe a maximum of 1.5 or 2 octaves. So she managed to make this song sound very dynamic just from the vocals alone and just from that more truncated range. I think what I was hinting at earlier was the dynamics and all of the other instruments were overall pretty consistent. We had some rising intensity and increasing volume, but outside of that, really all of the special sauce was in the lyrics and in her delivery. So let's jump into the next song. This is going to be The Roving. Already speaking to me melodically. You said that if you're married, I could be the man. The roving of her eye. I knew her love was changing by the roving of her eye. I love the interplay between acoustic and piano here. Great melody. By the roving of her eye. The roving of her eye. I knew her love was changing by the roving of her eye. The roving of her eye. Oh, that harmony. I knew her love was changing by the roving of her eye. The roving of her eye. I'm not sure what the song means so far. It seems like there's like sort of a disillusionment with love. Later in the summer, with a bottle in my hand, saying drink with me, my enemy, for our love is at an end. I go down to the water when everyone's asleep. Dude, this vibe is awesome. And I think of loving it wherever she may be. Disillusion. I knew her love was changing by the roving of her eye. Or just the shift in its quality. The roving of her eye. I knew her love was changing by the roving of her eye. The roving of her eye. I knew her love was changing Such a beautiful song. Feels rather ambiguous, but it is beautiful. And I'm also not sure what's going on with the image of the horse here on the screen. Maybe there's some context I'm missing there, but seems to be the song is about like the change in one's love for another due to some set of circumstances. Maybe it's just the ups and downs of life that kind of dim the flame, you could say. I mean, life is long, life is complicated, life is full of tragedy, full of grief, heartbreak. Even if you are in a long-term relationship, you'll have your ups and downs where you will really be tested. What is your love really made of? And if it isn't flashing hot, is that still love to you, or do you just simply let it go? I do want to look up the meaning of this song, but before we do that, I want to talk about the musicality there. I love the melody in this song. I love how it quickly establishes itself, and similar to what I would say in the first track, once the melody is there, once the groove and beat are there, there's not as much deviation in the instrumentation. It more so is in the vocals and delivery. Maybe that's just like a Anaïs Mitchell and the Horseman specific style to not vary up the instrumentation as much. But again, it causes us to focus fully on the vocals. And something I want to talk about just abstractly about like folk melodies. Like I said, I did a first time reaction to Blue by Joni Mitchell, and that was like my first real deep dive into the world of folk. And the way I understand folk melodies is a lot different than the way I understand like your average rock band's melodies, for example. And for me, like, I grew up as a rock listener, as an alternative metal listener, so I'm very familiar with those styles of melodies. And when I hear folk music, like, initially the melodies don't make as much sense to me in terms of scale and in terms of like the main checkpoints that we're reaching for, like in the minor scale, I'll expect the transition from the 7th scale degree into the root note of the 1 on the start of the chorus. That usually is a very common melodic motif. But in folk, the melodies just flow. They flow, and there's not necessarily a premium on repetition the way there might be in other genres. So sometimes I have trouble with like memorability with the folk track, even though the vibe is perfect and super like tranquil. So I would make that comment more about the first track, the solo song with Anaïs, over the second one. The second track I actually felt had a lot more of a pop folk feel to it. The chorus was very like instantly recognizable to me. Loved its melody, and I felt like when we returned to that place again and again, the structure of that melody was well retained. So I think the first track I liked from like a more intimate perspective. The second song I liked in terms of like just the melody and its own memorability. Let's look up the meaning of the second song here. The roving Bonny Light Horseman meaning. According to Gemini, the Bonny Light Horseman is a centuries-old traditional English and Irish folk ballad. Oh no, I need to look up the roving, not... Why is that not showing up? Okay. In the song The Roving by indie folk trio Bonny Light Horseman, the phrase "by the roving of her eye" refers to witnessing a lover's wandering attention, signaling that their affection is shifting. The song explores heartbreak, unfulfilled promises, and the universal timeless pain of a summer romance ending. Okay, so I think I was more on target with the interpretation than I initially gave myself credit. The changing in the love and affection that one has towards another over time. And it seems like in this case, that roving eye, that wandering eye, implies that I no longer am loving this person to the same extent that I used to. My eye is now wandering and going elsewhere. And with that wandering eye, so too goes my time, attention, and love. Even if I say on the surface I have the same level of appreciation for the initial person, the moment that I start to wander for real is when that mismatch in connection starts to happen. And it's especially felt if the receiver of that love now feels that change in quality. I think in some young circles, they'll call that love bombing, where at the beginning of a fresh relationship, whoever will throw all the love to the other person's way. And that will last maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, but it eventually kind of dies down. They start texting you less. They start wanting to spend less time with you. And in this case, their eye starts to wander because they didn't have the intention to stay with you from the beginning. Their intent was to manipulate up front. Now, the thing is, I don't know if that's the case. It may just be incidental that we were together. The passion was fiery, but it waned quickly, and now I see the deviation in their preference. Because I don't have a read as to the intention, I'll just take it as a slow dying of this love that the narrator is picking up on. And I've been in that position of feeling that way. I've also been in the reverse of that position where I have unfortunately done that. And trust me, it's not good to do it. It's not good to feel it. And Anaïs sung all of that so beautifully. I think I'm going to end it there. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction today. If you did, please leave a like on the video, and if you'd like to request one yourself, the link is in the description box below. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.